and welcome to the 8th episode of NEWMAC News. I'm John Newton.
And I'm Melanie Klusnick. Thanks for joining us.
For this month's episode, we will learn how Title IX played a vital role in the career paths of some of our administrators.
That's right, John. And we'll also see what our member institutions are doing to get young girls involved in athletics right on their campus.
But first, let's find out how our winter sports did this season.
It certainly was an exciting championship season, John. MIT hosted the Swimming and Diving Championships 2 weeks ago, where fans watched as the MIT men won the meet for the 8th straight year, while the MIT women were crowned conference champions for the 6th straight year.
I heard a number of conference records were broken during the meet.
You heard right, John. There were a ton of outstanding performances. Congratulations go out to Kathleen Pruden from Mount Holyoke for being selected as Swimmer of the Year. Maura Stitko-Ivans from Wellesley was slated as Diver of the Year, and Addie Chambers from MIT was voted in as Rookie of the Year on the women's side.
On the men's side, congratulations go to MIT's Elliott Ford as Diver of the Year, and WPI brothers Andrew and Jack Bauer selected as Swimmer and Rookie of the Year, respectively.
Last weekend, we headed to Babson for both the men's and women's basketball tournament, where the Babson men won the NEWMAC championship for the 2nd consecutive year. They will head to the NCAA tournament this weekend.
On the women's side, WPI secured the championship win, and they will also head to the NCAA tournament this weekend.
Good luck to the teams and individuals moving on to the NCAA championships.
With all these outstanding performances in the pool and on the court, NEWMAC student athletes are also doing great things in the classroom. Log on to the NEWMAC website to see our academic all-conference teams for the winter season.
We would like to thank our sponsors at All Worldwide Travel for helping us with our travel needs, and Athletic Link for assisting our members with online services during the hiring process.
In 1972, the United States Congress passed Title IX, which prohibits federally funded educational institutions from discriminating against students based on their gender. Since the enactment of Title IX, women's participation in sports has grown exponentially.
In fact, in 1984, the conference started out as the New 6 and then grew to the New 8, only sponsoring women's sports. In 1998, the conference officially became the NEWMAC, with the addition of men's sports.
With such a rich history of women's sports sponsorship, it seems fitting that the NEWMAC is one of the only conferences where more than 50% of athletic directors are female. We had the opportunity to sit down with some of them last month to talk about how Title IX contributed to their experience in athletics.
Hi, I'm Kat Ajitsi. I'm the head women's lacrosse coach at Emerson College, and we are here at Emerson with athletic director Pat Nicole. Hi, Pat. How's it going? So just to start off, can you talk a little bit about your journey and what got you to the NEWMAC?
Sure. Well, I will preface it by saying it's all because of Title IX. I was a Division I athlete, a Division I coach, and I taught actual physical education and public education for a while, and started my administrative career at Division I, then to Division II, and probably made the best decision in my professional career, and am now a director at the Division III level.
Great. So how do you feel like Title IX helped you get to where you are as a female athletic administrator?
Growing up in a neighborhood of all boys and 4 brothers, and because they always had an odd number on the team, they let me play to even out the teams. So I got to play basketball, baseball, flag football, everything the boys did, I did. And that really, started the competitiveness in myself. And, excuse me, so when I went to high school, that's when Title IX was just beginning to be enacted. And so I went from playing and participating to formal coaching, having all of the resources that the boys' teams did. And I went from playing and participating to actually competing. And if it was not for Title IX to give me that opportunity to take it from playing to competing, that would not have jump-started my career. And my advice would be that don't let anyone choose those boundaries for you. Excuse me, when you decide what you want to do, commit. Commit. And never, ever think a task is too menial or the responsibility is below you. And, I just, as I was sharing with you earlier, I grew up with a girl who became the first female American fighter pilot. So it's different, and just go after it and don't let anyone choose the boundaries for you.
I think my journey to the NEWMAC has been one of opportunity. I have been very fortunate to surround myself with people who are very like-minded in athletics, and have been able to connect with some role models and some mentors who at pivotal times have been able to point me in the direction of a career path. Starting out as an athletic trainer, starting out at Salve, basically starting a sports medicine program that enabled me to examine where I wanted to be in athletics. And then moving on to Dowling College on Long Island. I was actually thinking in going into education and teaching high school biology. But there I connected with someone in athletics and talked to me about what I liked and what I liked doing in athletics, and they guided me towards more of an administrative role. So where I started there as actually a grad assistant in sports medicine working on my master's degree, turned out to an assistant athletic director's position, head of sports medicine. And at that point was my first taste of sitting at the administrative table and helping in making decisions and guiding the path of a department and the student athletes that I was in charge of. But again, my path to Clark was I wanted to be back in the Northeast, so I chose to come to Clark as an assistant trainer, and through opportunities has put me into this chair as athletic director. And I feel very thankful and very humble to the people who have supported me, not only at Salve, at Dowling, and now at Clark. I feel very supported and very grateful for the opportunities I've had.
We are lucky to have such accomplished women as leaders in the conference. Let's check in with a few more.
All right, so I'm here with Kirsten Hughes. She is the athletic director at Smith College. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are now as a collegiate athletic director?
Yeah, so I probably had maybe the oddest path to athletic administration, but I've certainly come full circle. I really started at Smith, going through their exercise and sports science program. And out of that, I spent 17 years coaching collegiate women's basketball. And so really, Smith sort of launched my career for me. So it's pretty neat that now I've come full circle and now I'm back there as their athletic director. So I think, I've done everything from coach at the college level to being administrator at the college level as well as the high school level. And I think that all those experiences have been very, very different, but have really prepared me for hopefully what will be a really successful career at Smith.
What advice do you have for any young females looking to get into college athletics at the administrative level?
Well, I think networking is a huge thing. I think the more connections you can make with people, there's a lot of folks, especially with women athletic directors, administrators, coaches that really want to mentor young professionals. And so the more connections you can make, I think that really helps. And I would also say just get involved in as many ways at as many levels as possible, because the more experience you have, the more chances you get to get your hands dirty. I just think the better background you're going to have coming in, and all of those things can really speak volumes when you're starting to look for a position.
Hi, I'm Donna Hartman, Director of Physical Education, Recreation, and Athletics here at WPI, and I'm happy to share my career path. I started out playing a lot of sports as a kid. My family was very sport-oriented. My father was a coach, and fortunately, I was good enough to receive a basketball scholarship to a Division II school in Louisville, Kentucky, Bellarmine University, and was afforded a really great education there. And it kind of fired my interest in being involved in sport as a career, which at the time, which was the early 80s, was not something that a lot of women were able to have that opportunity. And after that, I worked in banking and was also volunteering as a boys basketball coach at the high school level, and had a great time doing that. And it was at that point that I realized I really wanted a career in sports management. And so I was fortunate to be accepted into the UMass Amherst Sport Management Program. Learned a lot while I was there. Had the opportunity to be a graduate assistant or do a graduate assistantship at Mount Holyoke College, another NEWMAC school, and worked for Lori Priest, who has been a great mentor and friend, and learned a lot and got a great opportunity with her. From there, I was hired by Wellesley College as an assistant athletic director and got to work for another great athletic director, Louise O'Neill. And I worked there for 9.5 years. Learned a tremendous amount. I was given a lot of opportunity to grow and develop as an administrator. Learned about a lot of different sports and really fell in love with the profession. And after 9.5 years, I was fortunate enough to be selected as the first women athletic director at WPI. And I've been in this position now for 14 years.
Thank you. I'm Brigitte, the Director of Athletics and the Chair of Physical Education and Recreation at Wellesley College.
How did you get where you got? How did you get here?
Well, my earliest recollection is my mom telling me I can do anything I wanted to do. So that was the first step. And knowing that I loved everything physical activity and playing games. So I was the neighborhood girl out in the streets playing with all of the boys because there were just a few girls, and I did not like to play with dolls, which back in my day was what the girls did, or dress up and those kinds of things. And I liked physical activity. And I migrated to, in the neighborhood, basketball and then softball. So my mom was a big factor, and my dad coached my teams. I went on to an all-girls high school, which certainly did foster for me that girls can do whatever it is they desire to do. And I learned to have a plan, think about it, and then get experiences. I then went on to my high school, well, I played basketball in high school, so my goal was to go to college and play basketball. And I did go to college, and I was cut from the basketball team. But my passion to stay in sport continued to be fueled, and I tried out for lacrosse, and I ended up being a 4-year lacrosse player and captain of the team. My major was physical education. I was a teacher coach. That was my degree. I left and got a job coaching field hockey and basketball in a middle school and then a high school for 8 years. We were up and down, and I would candidly say I was not the best athlete. And so that's a clear message. You don't have to be the best athlete to be very good as an administrator in sport. You have to have commitment to students and their progression and their education, and that's really what fuels me.
So we're at MIT, and we are sitting here with Athletic Director Julie Serrero. Julie, welcome. So can you talk to us a little bit about your path in becoming an athletic director at the college level?
Sure. My path is probably like many people's paths moving into administration. I coached at all different levels for probably 22, 23 years, but I always knew when I was coaching, I always sort of had a bigger idea, the big picture, and always interested in some of the problems and challenges within athletics, within the departments I was working in. And I always knew that when I made the decision to move out of coaching, I would move into administration. I love working in college athletics. I love the student athletes we have. So my journey was really one of one transition after another, moving up from Division 3 to 2 to 1 coaching. Then I took a step back to Division 3, a return step to Division 3, where I could combine coaching with administration. Mm-hmm. And then from there, really started to focus on administration. And I was fortunate enough to be named the athletic director at MIT 9 years ago. Oh, it's been great.
Great.
Sure. I went to Penn State, and I graduated from Penn State right as Title IX was coming into, I won't say my age, but just say right as it was coming into play. And the whole time I was there, I couldn't understand why my male counterparts were getting things we weren't getting. It just didn't make sense to me. And I always sort of scratched my head about that. And as Title IX became much more prominent, and there was much more sort of enforcement and understanding and support for it, I started to see these changes, not so much as a student athlete, but certainly as I moved into collegiate athletics. And the first thing I've got to acknowledge is the men and women who came before, who pushed that forward as a federal law for all the right reasons. And I'm not just talking about athletics, I'm talking about throughout every institution of higher learning and all the different programs they have on campuses. That was important in so many ways. And I really applaud them and acknowledge their work. And it wasn't easy work, especially for many of the women in athletics who were demanding equality for what they were doing, whether it was pay, opportunities for their student athletes, whether it was, travel, accommodations with locker rooms, and so on. So I think understanding, being on the cusp of that history and then understanding the history, I think it's also important to appreciate those that have come before in Title IX. And it still plays a very important role in my work every single day. I have to ask myself as a woman athletic director, the decisions I make, what are we doing that promotes equality? And being at an institution that's had a relative degree of success recently, I want to make sure we keep those opportunities strong for both our men and women. So it's played a role, and it's been a forefront of a lot of what I do, and it continues to be important for all we do in education.
It's clear these women certainly serve as great role models for all of our athletes.
As well as young girls that are the future of women's college athletics.
Yes, that's actually why many of our campuses have participated in Girls and Women's Sports Day.
The Smith Athletic Department participated with clinics in basketball, tennis, soccer, and many other sports for girls in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. Springfield hosted girls in kindergarten through 6th grade on February 20th. Their student athletes provided clinics in gymnastics, tennis, field hockey, and soccer.
Wheaton presented all their female senior athletes with flowers at halftime during their women's basketball game. And Wellesley had a local girls basketball team play an exhibition game during halftime of their basketball game last week.
What a great opportunity for young girls to work with our student athletes in a collegiate facility.
During the winter season, the cold has not kept NEWMAC fans from supporting their teams. The nomination pool is expanding, so we have 2 Superfan winners this month. Congratulations to the Clark women's soccer team and Garrick Holman, the WPI pep band conductor. No matter the event, the time, or the place, there is a great chance you will see the Clark women's soccer team. Sitting in the cold at men's soccer games, cheering on volleyball, or on the road at NEWMAC championships, you can count on them being there. Hoops game at midnight? Check. Swim meet Wednesday night? They don't think twice. Their endeavors extend beyond supporting teams. They help when freshmen move-in day and are leaders in the university SAC.
WPI's Garrett Holman is one of the most spirited individuals on campus. Whether he is dancing, jumping, or vivaciously conducting, he takes pride in every timeout, every halftime, and every performance his pep band gives. His unending energy is infectious and always contributes to the enthusiastic crowd at home and away games.
Thanks for joining us this month. We hope you tune in next month when we will learn about the community service events our student athletes are participating in. I'm John Newton.
And I'm Melanie Klusnick. See you next time.